Hi, this is the bad boy, Joey Janela, and you're listening to the Going in Raw podcast. Joey Janela always goes in.
This is the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and you are listening to Going in Raw.
Hey everyone, Kenny Omega here. In case you didn't know, we have an awesome kick butt show called Steve and Larson's Going in Raw, and they're going to be supporting AEW every week amongst many other things. Goodbye and smooch. Good night. Bye-bye.
Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found. And of course, taped live at the Twitch at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. We are on the road to Double or Nothing, and our good friendo Louis Dangour made this point on the Twitter. Given that the next, between now and Double or Nothing, I think a couple of the Dynamite episodes are they being pushed for various sporting events, like
guest basketball,
to a different time or something, like to a different day, perhaps.
Yeah.
Tonight really sure did feel like
go home.
Everything is getting sorted for Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
Like they're making sure everybody knows basically
at least
what most of the big matches are going to be for Double or Nothing.
Exactly.
A packed Dynamite tonight. Maybe, and I know I'm going to get crap in the comments, maybe to a fault, but I'm not going to complain about the effort in trying to stack a bunch of stuff in an episode. Larson?
I'm not either. That being said, though, there was a couple instances where they should have let things breathe a little bit. Just give it some time to breathe. Most glaringly, SCU being forced to break up. Give that moment time to breathe.
There was a point made about this is why there's two big instances for tonight that were that seemed really weird. And no, I'm not talking about Cody. That's its own level of weird. We're gonna get to that, by the way. SCU's breakup. They lost to the Young Bucks, so they can no longer be a tag team. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the announcement that Pac, Orange Cassidy, and Kenny Omega will be a triple threat match at Double or Nothing for the title. So that instance seemed like that match, that finish had to be called on the fly because Orange Cassidy got his bell rung. Mm-hmm. Now, Sean Ross Sapp has confirmed that he's okay, but it seems like in the heat of the moment, he wasn't. And they had to rush that finish. That's really what it feels like.
Yeah, it definitely did. It felt like they had to scramble to come up with a new finish to get the result they wanted, because I think Dave Meltzer tweeted that the plan had always been a triple threat at Double or Nothing between Kenny, Cassidy, and Pac. But yeah, on that powerbomb spot, you could tell Orange Cassidy was not right. They tried to buy him some time through a commercial break. Wasn't quite enough. And good on them for finding a way to get out of that match without Orange Cassidy having to take any more bumps. They played it safe in this instance, made sure that he didn't get hurt any further. So, they got the result they needed and wanted. Was it a little clunky? Yeah, but given the circumstance, it's hard to really blame them for that.
They did what they could. You can't put blame on them for that.
Nope.
You can't. Guys hurt out there. You're not going to get what you want. And then the SCU thing, there's one of two ideas. Okay. One idea is they were just really tone deaf on SCU breaking up. And I'll be honest with you, I kind of refuse to believe that. The only other alternatives are this is going to be played up. This was intentional in order to be played up as part of a story for whatever SCU has coming up. Like they're going to feel disrespected and blah, blah, blah. Something happens with that. That's a possibility because AEW is usually good at that stuff. Because this was a very deliberate moment that they robbed from simply Daniel bleeding to shine. He was bloody all over. And I understand that for the majority of that match, there was tons of you couldn't get away from it. But maybe, just maybe, because last week TNT allowed them to go as bloody as they did, maybe this week they felt the need to, there's way too much blood that we're seeing right now. We got to cut away as soon as we possibly can.
I mean, they
This
literally
TNT 's
showed
breathing down our
a
necks.
close-up of Daniels laying on his back, and you could see the blood pool under his head. Like I'm sure the point of that shot was to show how much he was bleeding.
Well, the blood was on the Jordans too, and they made a point of that.
So they weren't shying away from the blood whatsoever. I'm not saying that can't be a possibility. I'm just kind of doubtful. I think of the two scenarios you presented, that as story beat is the more likely. I don't feel like AEW has ever shied away from showing blood. You know?
Well, I don't know what you're right, and all the points you just made are great. They really incorporate in the story. And then on top of that, they had Mox and Kingston already back there for this shot, but maybe that was supposed to happen after an elongated hug moment with SCU, and maybe somebody from TNT called them. I don't know. I just remember reading the WCW book and reading so much about what standards and practices would always be breathing down their neck. And it felt so awkward and strange for them to do this, that it's either part of a story or it's or they were forced to. I kind of refuse to believe that they'd be so like disrespectful towards SCU's legacy as to just really abruptly and awkwardly say, "Oh wait, we can't watch this because we have to get backstage." It felt very forced in the moment.
It did.
It was odd. It was very strange.
Who knows?
But I mean, it came off the tail end of just an absolutely terrific match. There was a couple of just really killer matches. Of course, the match that opened everything up, Mox versus Yuji Nagata, just a really great historical moment. You know,
as you mentioned, Young Bucks and SCU was a really good match. Told a hell of a story, and then the main event, Miro versus Darby, again told a really good story. Miro finally getting his championship in AEW. He's your new TNT champ. Marked out pretty huge for that. I'm a huge Miro fan, so congratulations to Miro.
You know, I'm going to allow myself be a fan here.
All right.
Fuck him. This was one of the few matches, and this is purely as a fan. Okay.
Right.
Miro does deserve this. He's come a long way. It's great, right? He had the TNT logo, but this to me was Rocky IV. I totally bought in. It doesn't happen very often for me too much anymore. By and large, because like these days when we do pay-per-views, because of predictions, I just want to keep all that gold back there.
Yeah, it's like playing fantasy football.
But a match like this, where Darby Allin has one of those killer short films in advance, and they got me with the fist bump to Sting. Oh, they got me. They got me big with that because he looked at him and it was dad in his eyes.
Yep.
Because up until now, they're both very cool, chill guys. Darby almost gives an attitude like, I don't really need this old man. But he looked over at Sting and the television production, for all the shit people talk about AEW's television production.
Yeah, we did
the production here, like we did. You know what, though? We defended a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
The production on Darby looking over at Sting and Sting basically giving him this look like, hey, you win some, you lose some, because they both knew what was about to happen. And fucking Miro, this monster in there, and he has the audacity to have the fucking TNT logo on his shorts.
Love it.
That piece of shit.
Nah, he's the best.
But that's me buying into it as a fan, and that's what they want. I want to see somebody kick Miro's ass now, and I think that's the desired response. He absolutely deserves it.
I want Miro to have a Bruno-esque run with that title.
Oh man, no way.
Miro's great.
I bought into this so hardcore. I love the little short film beforehand.
All right, let's talk about something neither of us bought into. Let's talk about Cody here.
Yes. I'm all in on this shit. I'm getting that jacket, Larson. Oh, I'm proud to be an American.
Stop singing first of all.
Because of Cody Rhodes.
You know the words. See, you're into this in an ironic sense because it's so over the top.
It sucks. It's so fucking bad.
It's so bad.
It's so bad.
That you want to see how far Cody's going to push this whole thing.
Yeah,
like your whole thing is in terms of appreciating Cody, is how far is he going to push his influence, maybe backstage, the limits of good taste.
Yeah.
I could go on and on. Cody is all about seeing what he can get away with, it feels like.
I love this fool is doing the shit that people kill Vince for. Oh, they're doing the evil foreign heel. You're doing on a dude who's in a faction that is all, well, I don't know about, aren't they all like American dudes?
I believe so.
I think they are. I mean, sometimes they're Canadian. I don't know. But like, it's not like he's part of this evil heel British faction or something. And yes, he draped Cody Rhodes in the Union Jack. I get that. But at what point did he run down this flawed country of ours in the first place?
He did in one promo like a few weeks back. He just made a reference. One reference.
Oh my God. And he starts talking about the election and what was it? I think you probably in your notes have it verbatim probably. What did he say?
Well, not quite verbatim. We'll just get into it now.
I was shocked. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I got
and he's winning. By the way, he's totally winning.
Because we'll get to it. So here, this is kind of what he said. This is paraphrasing. So he said his old hat to be patriotic, to be proud to be an American. Hey, we all live in the real world, but I've never been more proud to be an American. Says Anthony Gogo is run down and verbally buried the United States. And the irony is that a Gogo has a visa thanks to the U.S. and has money thanks to the U.S. And he starts. He says, "You talk about anger and division." Yeah, he brings up the election, a bunch of other stuff. So the argument is what. Is that what makes us? The anger and division of what makes us America. He says our empathy is greater than our arguments. He said, Agogo, I know you didn't come here to follow the British dream. He dropped some Willie Nelson lyrics.
I'm sure Willie loves this, by the way. I'm sure Willie would love this shit, to be associated with this kind of shit.
I don't know. I mean, I honestly don't know. Says Agogo likes to pontificate on the U.S., and then Cody starts telling some stories, starts talking about segregation in the South, his child. Says he's not going to have a defeatist attitude when someone talks crap about the U.S. He's going to fight back, and he's going to do the fighting at double or nothing. He says TK has already told the world that we're coming back to full capacity. Says, I won't be wrestling as the American Nightmare that night, because for one night only, I'll be wrestling as the American Dream.
Listen, baby. Listen. You can be the American Dream tonight, because you're fighting, or the redcoats or blue? They're redcoats, right? The British.
The British, yes.
The British are redcoats. So he came out there and said the redcoats are coming.
So it's like throughout this promo, I'm like, oh my gosh, they're really doing this?
Lordy, I know.
They're really doing this? And then when he
started, I was like, what the fuck?
And then when he busted out the American Dream thing, once he said for one night only, I'm like, oh, I know where this is going. I'm like, okay, he's not losing. He's not losing when he's the American Dream. Because for Cody to tell his story, Anthony Ogogo, for one, it's not beating Cody, but he certainly isn't beating the American Dream. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. No. I'll be honest with you. As soon as he started making it about America, I was like, no, okay, let's backtrack a little bit. Now, this was never corroborated or substantiated or whatever, confirmed. But if Larson, if there was ever emails that were contentious between Cody and the Young Bucks and Kenny, it might have been because he was like, hey, guys, I have a great idea. Okay, great idea. You know how I'm going to beat this Go-Go guy at Double or Nothing? They're like, no, but okay, sure. I'm going to make him an evil foreign heel. We might have a problem with that, Cody. Send. I mean, get out of here. Get out of here. Dude, if you ever approached me and said, hey, Steve, I have an idea for Going in Raw. It's going to include an unironic take on the evil foreign heel thing, I would probably send you a contentious email. Because this is stupid. It's so fucking dumb. It's so bad. It is. But I'm here for it because that jacket is amazing, and there's just not even a hint of self-awareness there.
Yeah, that's
not even a hint.
That's really the thing.
Not even a hint.
Is yeah, you know, yeah. Which is funny because, well.
Yeah, broken wheelchair, especially when Omega is an American, is not American. Oh my God.
Like the whole thing about Cody is, we've debated to various degrees, is this whole Triple H thing. What level of self-awareness is going on with him with that whole thing?
He proved me wrong. He proved me fucking wrong, man. I thought he was totally self-aware. I don't think so. Does it change? Does it change if Ogogo wins?
Well, yeah, it would.
You think so?
Yeah.
So it's kind of contingent on Cody going all out American and then winning.
And then if he gets hit in the gut and throws up in the ring and then loses, and like, okay, maybe he is a little self-aware.
What if he like gets the American flag, puts under Cody, and then punches Cody in the gut, and he throws up on the American flag?
Oh, wow.
At that point, it's like, whoa, Cody, you're onto something good here.
Yeah, it's like, now you're getting to some complexities here.
Now you're getting some complexities here, exactly.
But yeah, it's pretty surprising that AEW, or Cody, I should say, would take this route with the storyline. Because yes, how many times has WWE gone down this path and gotten criticized?
Oh yeah.
For something like this, and it's just it's fairly surprising. Hopefully there's a twist on it that will make it seem more interesting than what we are presented tonight. But just tonight, man,
it was so earnest. It'd be hard. It would be really difficult at this point. There would have to be some massive swerve for me to walk this back and be like, oh, whoa, he really threw us for one. This was a troll the entire time.
I know.
And I'll be man enough to say, hey, I was wrong, and he fooled me. But for this night, for this one night here, man, that was, I mean, dude, on today of all days when one of the parties tossed a member of their leadership out,
yeah,
for not buying into a massive lie.
Yep, I know, and that's like the line about our empathy. Is what was it? Our empathy is greater than our arguments. I'm like, do you not read the newspaper, Cody?
Dude, seriously. Yeah, boy, I don't know. I mean, it's funny because the response on Twitter, at least, and I know I'm in a bubble like everybody else, but I did not see a lot of positivity for this promo at all. So I don't know, man. This is it's incredibly silly at best. At worst, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyways, let's dive right into it. Kicked off with Wild Thing. I think I love you. So Yuji Nagata versus Jonathan
Wild
Moxley.
Thing John Moxley.
Wild Thing John Moxley. Apparently that was an ode to Atsushi Onita. You said you wouldn't want him to continue using Wild Thing. I think that'd be pretty rad to be honest, because I don't know his theme. Like, I've heard it.
You know, I thought because we texted about this when that happened, and I was like, oh, I could sing it, and I started singing it to myself, and I started thinking. I'm like, no, what I'm singing is actually the Hardy Boys theme, because it actually sounds a little bit like it.
Does it? I don't know it. Go ahead and can you sing it for me a little bit and see if I recognize it? By the way, this is totally going to be one of the categories in our tag team turmoil
trivia. I can hear the Mox theme in my head because it goes meow, but it kind of goes da 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 da. But that's the Hardy Boys theme.
Oh yeah, no, okay.
But it kind of does go like that.
It's kind of that, huh? Yeah. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
But it starts with do da 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 da, something like that.
Anyways, so yeah, Yuji Nagata comes out with Ren Narita, which is pretty cool. Some real physical stuff here. This just seemed like Mox having fun with Yuji Nagata selling all of his offense. Nagata gets his blows in. Mox started out strong though. Nagata gets Mox in trouble with an armbar. Mox gets his foot to the ropes. In the end, though, John Moxley hits his paradigm shift, and Excalibur even referenced the fact that it's called Death Rider in Japan. Mm-hmm. Got that for 3, and then afterwards, Mox, bows to Nagata. Nagata bows back, and they both stand up as a sign of respect. Mm-hmm. This was probably just like an absolute amazing moment for Mox. So that's great for him. That's awesome.
I would think so. It was pretty cool that they announced beforehand that this match would be fought under New Japan rules as well. So there'd be a 20 count out as opposed to 10. I think it's a 60-minute time limit, so on and so forth. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Pretty cool. So after that, we had the Inner Circle interview. It was Ortiz, Hager, and Sammy. Ortiz says, hey, we got a message for the Pinnacle. They had him beat, but a twist of fate occurred, and then when MJF pushed Jericho off the top of the cage. Oh, sorry. MJF pushed Jericho off the cage, but on top of that, I took really shorthand notes here. And then after that, had Santana arrested because he used a fork during the match. Mm-hmm. Hager said they would have to kill him to beat him, but we're still alive. So Pinnacle, you failed. And Sammy says, we want a rematch. You don't give us the rematch. We're going to put Pinnacle in the grave.
I thought this was. I thought Hager was really good here.
Yeah,
Like
me too.
Hager doesn't talk a whole lot, but he stands out when he does because in AEW most of his promo work has been pretty decent. I thought he was pretty good here.
Yeah, I thought so too.
After that, Cody comes out, and I texted you. I said, "Why isn't this the main event? Cody's about to talk. This is kind of a big deal."
Same question.
And
Same
after
question.
hearing what he had to say, I stand by that. This should have been the main event. So yeah, we went through most of this already. We just did. At one point we didn't mention this. He talked about like desegregation and related that to like, now he's going to have a mixed race child. He doesn't lay down when someone runs down his country, so they're going to fight a Double or Nothing, the American Dream, Cody Rhodes. He got teary-eyed when he talked about his baby. That's going to be a thing. Oh, man. So anyways, that happened.
After that, there was a pretty good SCU video package kind of recounting their history with the Young Bucks. A lot of pictures of them on the road, out front of Cracker Barrel, all sitting in the rocking chairs, all that kind of stuff. And then they, I think it was Kazarian said, when I see the Young Bucks now, I think back to those times, and it upsets me because those aren't the Young Bucks who are standing in front of me now.
Yeah, this was really well done. I like this. And then we had SCU versus the Young Bucks.
Great match. Great match.
SCU wearing Team Taz colors.
And Young Bucks wearing some great gear. They had some Jordan 1s on.
The banned Jordan 1s. I had to look these up. I was like, I want to bring my sneaker knowledge to Larson today.
Yeah.
Banned.
Yeah.
Right?
Because
Except
they were banned by the NBA.
Except they put white laces on them.
Yes,
And I
because
think
the reason they were
typically
banned by the NBA because they had to have some white on them.
Interesting. There you go.
Didn't.
See? Learning all the time. That's great. I did not know
I think
that.
NBA fined Jordan for wearing them. I don't know if they were banned, but he was fined for wearing
So are these ones are these specific ones like super expensive? I tried to look up and see if there were any that were like super expensive, and they all seem like around the normal price.
They are not as expensive as the Dior ones they wore.
The Dior ones are ridiculous.
Yeah, those are legit expensive. But these, I mean, like they re-release them every few years.
Oh, okay.
So
all right.
they were touting the $1,000 price tag, and I don't think it was quite that much. I mean,
The white laces really came in handy for the blood spot.
Yes.
Because
I'll look on StockX and see how much they go for.
Because Daniels got bloody. I mean, this is sort of, the story of this match was, Daniels got basically taken out because of, all the blood and Nick was laughing at that. He sort of took enough time to let Kazarian come to after he was beat down. So Nick Jackson ends up eating a cutter from Kaz. He sort of fends him off for a bit, but the Bucks take back over. Kaz holds his own in the 2-on-1, getting a roll up as Gallows distracts the ref. Kaz then looks at Gallows and hits Styles Clash on Matt,
That was great.
which was pretty great. Nick breaks it up. The Bucks hit a tombstone and a kick. Daniels is able to finally come to enough to break up that pin. He tags in, eats a spear immediately. But, man, he starts going off. He's kicking out of pretty much everything. He's bleeding. There was a great shot, we mentioned this, of him bleeding all over one of the Young Bucks' Jordans.
Bleeding buckets,
It was buckets. It was buckets. So then Matt sprayed, like while the ref is distracted, Matt sprays some cold spray in Daniel's face, then nails him with the bottle, and that still only gets him 2. But then in the end, a BTE trigger gets 3 for the Young Bucks. And right as SCU, they have like one kind of extended shot on Kaz as he's approaching Daniels. And then they're like, we got to get backstage because something's happening. And it's Mox and Kingston. And they're ripping up the Elite's dressing room pretty fierce. Mm-hmm. And then we come back and we're able to see a bit of Daniels and Kazarian hugging. But yeah, it felt like an odd moment for them to tear away there. Any update on the banned Jordans?
I'm looking to see. So if it's the actual Jordan 1 banned highs
Yeah.
on StockX right now for the 2016 re-release, those are going for $550 roughly a pair.
Okay, that's what I was able to find.
But
too,
if
'cause I was
it's the
looking for those
mids,
expensive ones.
which were re-released last year, this color blocking is a little different. I was trying to get a good still of what the Young Bucks were wearing. Those are cheaper.
Okay, yeah, I only found the $500 ones, and
Yeah.
I didn't find anything higher.
I mean, it's still
all
expensive
right.
for a pair of shoes, but it's not anywhere close to.
Yeah, for sure. To the Dior's, yeah.
Oh, here we go. Let
after
me
that,
see. Yeah, those are the highs.
Okay. All right. There you go then. We had a Christian interview. He calls out the technique with Taz from last week. He said, he made a buffet joke about Taz.
He said something about no one could argue with Taz's technique at the buffet.
Yeah.
Something like that. And he says, hey, no one could argue that Taz used to be a bad man, but he's now he's not going to step through those ropes and back up his words. Christian says, but I am. I got an open contract to face any member of Team Taz. Mm-hmm. And then he segues talking about Casino Battle Royal. Winner gets a title shot whenever they want it. He's going to be in it. He's going to win it. Matt Sydal steps in and says, hold on, I'm going to be in it. I'm looking for redemption from last year. And then Christian makes some joke about him slipping off the top rope. And then Sydal says, oh, by the way, I signed the open contract. I'm going to be facing you next week.
Yep. Christian. After that, we had Orange Cassidy versus Pac for the number one contender.
What is it about Pac liking to be thrown into the barricade and throwing people into the barricade? I swear half his matches are people being thrown into the barricade.
I like being thrown in the barricade, you bastard. I'll gnaw your face off. Towards the finish, what the finish of this match was, Pac powerbombing Orange Cassidy into pure oblivion. This was an ugly looking powerbomb.
It was high on the shoulders and the neck. So
it was pretty nasty. So while they're sorting out that, Callis comes out with a mic. And he's telling Pac to hurry up because the champion wants to know who's going to win this match. So he knows who he's going to face at Double or Nothing. Kenny comes in and he blasts Pac with a title. Neither men get up from a 10 count. So they get doubly counted out.
Yeah, standing 10 count, yeah.
So Callis says, okay, cool. We don't have an opponent for Double or Nothing. What should we do, Kenny? Kenny says, fuel up the motorcycles. We're going on a road trip. And then Tony Schiavone interrupts. Says, I've been informed by Tony Khan. It's going to be a triple threat between Pac, Orange Cassidy, and Kenny Omega defending his title. Kenny explodes on him. Is like, we're not going to do this. We're not going to take this. And then they sort of they just disappear.
Yeah. After that, Young Bucks and the Good Brothers are in their locker room. They're upset their locker room got trashed. Gallo says, we know who did this. They've been disrespecting the most illustrious faction in wrestling. What are you going to do about it? And Matt says, let's talk about what we're going to do. But first, let's talk about the fact they sent SCU out to pasture. And Matt says, why not face now the new number one contenders to the tag titles, Varsity Blondes, next week? But getting back to Mox and Kingston, he challenges them to a match at Double or Nothing.
Kind of sucks being number one contenders when you're just basically getting looked over. But
I know.
I mean, it's a small quibble, but I think it is like being number one contender should mean a lot.
I know.
Like, I don't know, matches on Dynamite should be weighted or something. Because,
honestly, what they should have done is not mention facing Varsity Blondes next week and just issue the challenge. And that's between now and then they can just say, oh, Varsity Blondes, they get a match against the Young Bucks because of the number one contenders.
Yeah. But I mean, it's one of the rare instances. I really like the ranking system, but it's one of the rare instances where there might just be too much going on for them to bother with the ranking system in certain situations. And you're a wrestling company. You don't have to pay attention to all your rules. Just by and large, stick to them. But in this case, it's like, okay, well, we know what the match is going to be at Double or Nothing. It's going to be for the tag titles. It's going to be Mox and Kingston. So, like, why are Varsity Blondes getting around? Like, they're number one contenders. Now they're going to, what happens after you lose your number one contender match? Mm-hmm. Got to start over? I don't know what happens.
Yeah, anyways, I guess after that, you get knocked down to the bottom of the power rankings, have to work your way back up, I guess.
I guess so. So after that, Hangman in the Dark Order. Hangman basically challenged, I didn't really write much of this down, but he challenged Cage at Double or Nothing. Basically says just you and me because your dudes just came out and Yeah,
that's pretty much it. Pretty much it. Yeah, after that, Coronation of the Pinnacle. So MJF is walking out there with a crown and a really good-looking pink suit. And he says, not only I tell you I was going to take Jericho's spot, now I'm the demo god, the king of AEW, and you'll refer to me as the greatest of all time. Don't boo. Bow it to him and the Pinnacle. He says Pinnacle is responsible for AEW being number one on cable last week. And he's like, hey, Inner Circle's down 2 men, Santana and Jericho. Of course, Santana's in jail. Jericho is nursing a injured arm. He says, which is why he's perplexed. The Inner Circle would challenge them for a rematch. He says, but I'm a benevolent king. Would the people like to see a rematch? He thinks about it, says his answer is no, passes the mic to Tully. Tully takes the scenic path to say that I got everybody a gift. It's really good-looking watches. And while everybody's, hugging Tully, looking at their watches, you hear a car horn starts blaring. And MJF's like, who's honking? And it's the Inner Circle on an Inner Circle-themed field cart they probably use at the stadium, the football stadium. Mm-hmm. And they're hauling a bubbly wagon behind them. Mm-hmm. And Sammy's standing in the bed of the field cart, and he's got like a little can. You know what's coming.
The bubbly.
The bubbly. So MJF is like, hey, we're done with you. Santana is detained. You know we're never seeing Jericho again. Get out of here. And then Jericho emerges from the back of the bubbly cart. He's got a huge brace on one of his arms. So he says, I'll ask again, do we give us a rematch? Yes or no? And MJF says, no. The answer is still no. And then Jericho goes, all right, just be clear. Your answer is no, right? Yeah. And he says, all right, Sammy, open fire. So Sammy starts shooting champagne at the Pinnacle. They're doing all the stuff that back when Austin did the beer bath to The Rock and Shane and Vince, slipping all over the ring and whatnot. Finally, Sammy stops. MJF stands up. He's just drenched in bubbly. Tells Jericho, I'll give you a rematch. In the match that you lost last year, Stadium Stampede. He says, this year nothing funny is going to happen because this year, if you lose, Inner Circle has to break up forever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All my confidence points on the Inner Circle winning at Stadium Stampede.
I'd probably have more on Kenny retaining the title because he's totally retaining the title.
Oh, yeah, that's totally happening. That's absolutely happening. Yeah, I feel okay. So far, I feel like Britt's not a lock, but she's the middle of my confidence points.
It's like Hangman's going to beat Brian Cage.
Hangman's 100% going to beat Hangman Page. What about the tag titles? Do you think Mox and Kingston have a shot?
Yeah.
They should win.
They should win. They should win them, yeah. They 100% should win them. Yeah, Kenny's totally retaining. I don't know about the Cody Anthony Ogogo thing.
Only because Kenny's a bigger lock and Inner Circle's a bigger lock. But I might just on principle alone put all my confidence points on Cody.
Interesting.
Because he would do that. Has Ogogo had a match yet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He won via gut punch.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he's won via gut punch. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then we get a Britt Baker interview. JR brings up this about a year ago that Shida broke her nose. And Britt says, yeah, I had to get my nose reconstructed. I was out for 5 months. You know what? You can let pain change you or hurt you. And she said, since then, I've become, as JR says, the baddest bitch on the block. She says, it's poetic that the monster Shida created will be the woman to dethrone her. Britt suggested to Tony Khan that, so I guess they showed footage of a photo shoot for Forbes where Tony Khan and some AEW wrestlers are out in the ring taking pictures for a profile in Forbes. Britt interrupts, and she says the reason she did that, she was telling Tony that, hey, maybe you should have pictures of all the current champions when this piece comes out, not who the champions are now, because in that case, Britt says, I will be the champion. Mm-hmm. And she says Shida has been champ for about a year. She's kept the division alive on life support. She says, but she's the face of the division. She's the role model. She's the pulse. And when you're the pulse, you don't need a machine to keep it alive. And she guarantees victory at Double or Nothing.
All the confidence points Britt Baker has on
Britt
Baker. That's right.
DMD.
This was a killer interview. I really enjoyed this.
This was good.
After that, we had Thunder Rosa versus Jazmin Allure. And the Allure didn't last long because it was maybe 3 minutes at most.
Really short. And
really short.
I don't know if Jazmin got any offense in.
I don't believe she did. Thunder Rosa picked up the win easily.
And afterwards, they announced that Sarita D will be defending the NWA Women's title next week against Red Velvet.
Oh, that's cool. Right on. I know Thunder Rosa has like a NWA power match against Camille, maybe?
Oh, okay.
And it's like if Thunder Rosa loses that match, she's not allowed to wrestle anywhere else. So she's going to win that match because she's
interesting
going to
stipulation.
wrestle in other places.
That's an interesting stipulation.
Oh, look, this is just what I read on Twitter.
I thought it was
I
if she
didn't
loses
actually-
that match, she doesn't get to contend for the title again or something like that. But if she loses, she can never wrestle anywhere but NWA.
I don't know what precipitated that.
Yeah,
I even read it a couple times myself,
interesting.
and I was like, well, that's not gonna.
That's called telegraphing your finish.
You're telegraphing the finish there. It's a
also-
very strange stipulation.
Also, next week we're getting the Young Bucks versus Varsity Blondes. We mentioned that. Christian Cage versus Matt Sydal, and then Anthony Agogo will be taking on Austin Gunn.
Ooh, Austin Gunn's gonna have rib tape the next week.
Gut punch. That's what we're gonna see.
Yeah,
Gut
Jeff
punch.
Chelio says Thunder Rosa has her own company. That's weird.
Well, apparently she can't
Totally
wrestle for her
does.
own company if she loses this match.
Yeah, no more Mission Pro Wrestling.
Nope. We get a quick Jade Cargill interview. They did a replay of Mark Sterling making his pitch to be her manager. And she just says, I handle my business. I'm listening to offers, but I'm my own boss.
After that, we had a Darby Allin short film. I loved this. I thought because it was straightforward as opposed to being poetic or whatever he does before. So he's in a car in Seattle. He's sort of being interviewed, I guess, by whoever's producing this. And he's like, how you feeling? What do you think about Miro since you've been thrown down that stairwell? And he was like, I don't have time to think about being thrown downstairs. Here I am in Seattle. It's my hometown. He goes to an old skate warehouse, and then he sort of cuts a promo to the camera. And he says, Miro, all you talked about was glass ceilings when you got here. But what have you done since you've been here? Video games? Being a best man at some dude's wedding? I do not buy what you were selling. I know exactly who I am. Do you know who you are? He says, look at me, you generic son of a bitch. You're not taking this from me. Say what you want. You'll have to admit, I'm one of the toughest men you've ever stepped in the ring with. He called him underwhelming as well. I thought this was just a really great promo, and I was like, man, I really want Darby to keep this thing and give it away some WWE reject. So then we had
how
Miro
dare you.
versus,
How dare you?
just trying to get a rise, Miro versus Darby Allin. That fool had the TNT logo. I mean, he did look like the TNT championship.
He did. It was amazing.
He
Amazing.
did.
Amazing.
But F that
So
guy. Fuck
Miro
that guy.
Miro jumps Darby as he's trying to get in the ring. He's yelling at the ref to ring the bell while he's beating the hell out of Darby. It spills out to the floor. Miro beels Darby across the ringside area, tosses him to the guardrail, rams the ring post, clotheslines Darby. Clotheslines Miro over the guardrail. That doesn't sound right. No, clotheslines Darby over the guardrail, and then bellies to belly him back over to ringside area, and then Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page are laughing it up in the stands. Miro puts Darby back in the ring, continues to beat him up. Eventually steps away. Ref checks on Darby. Darby says he's good to go. Miro hits a Machka kick. Covers. Darby kicks out, and Miro starts celebrating like
Miro
he won.
starts celebrating.
Great. Gosh, he's great. Darby rolls out of the ring. Miro follows, and Darby starts getting some offense, hits a couple of drop kicks, looks for a stunner. Miro catches him, tries to ram Darby into the ring post. Darby escapes that, pushes Miro into the post. Darby falls with a crazy suicide dive with a ton of velocity.
This
He literally
was
bounced off Miro.
A
Bounced off him.
cannonball. I honestly think this is not exaggeration. I've seen tons of Ray Phoenix. I've seen tons of Darby Allin. I don't know that I've seen one. This looked like another level of velocity.
It really was.
did.
It really was, 'cause he
And I'm
hit-
not saying that just because I just saw it.
He hit Miro, and then he bounced off.
Yeah.
Bounced.
Yeah.
I've never seen someone bounce off someone so far from a suicide dive. So anyways, he goes back up top looking for a coffin drop down to the floor. Miro catches him, hits a German suplex on the floor. After that, Scorpio Sky, after Ethan Page distracts Sting, chop blocks Sting, takes out his knee. Meanwhile, Darby tries to mount a little bit of offense, puts Miro into sleeper. Darby's having trouble maintaining his grip because his arm's bad. He's got all taped up. Eventually, though, they spill out to the floor. Darby's going for the sleeper again. And Darby breaks that up by Miro breaks it up by driving Darby into the wall of the stage. And that thing didn't give.
No, it didn't.
And there was
Not
a
at
very
all.
audible thud.
They replayed it 3 times or 2 times, and my God, it looked bad every time.
It did look bad. So back in the ring, Miro's working over Darby's bad arm. Darby's thrown into the ropes. He kind of rolls over, and he looks over. You mentioned this earlier. Looks over at Sting. almost like asking, what do I got to do? What can I do here? And Sting says something to him. And
I was trying to read the lips, but honestly, like the body language, the facial language, it just looked like Sting was like, "Hey, kid, do what you can do, but you're not gonna win them all."
Yeah.
You know.
And so Darby gives him a fist bump, starts mounting a bit of a comeback, hits a couple stunners here, hits a coffin drop, but on impact, Miro catches him, picks him up, looks for a German suplex. Darby lands on his feet, rolls up Miro, gets it. They did a good job of making the end of this match pretty damn exciting. You thought, oh, maybe Darby has a chance here.
I know, man. I was in it. I was wrapped up. I
could tell. So he rolls up Miro, gets a 2, hits Code Red, gets another 2. Darby locks on an arm bar. Miro just powers out, locks on, game over, and actually did the grapevine over the body. It just starts leaning back. And the Darby passes out. Ref stops the match.
It was quick. It was really quick too. Yeah.
So Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, they attack Sting after the bell. Dark Order come out to make the save, and then Lance Archer comes marching out at the end, all angry, while Miro's trying to celebrate. So I'm guessing that's going to be our Double or Nothing TNT title match.
Probably be the case. Oh man, yeah, I gave this one 4 stars. It had me wrapped up, dude. But by the finish, I was like, "Come on, man, come on, let's do it." And I love when they bring me to that point. Mm-hmm. Let's answer a couple questions here.
Hugh Long Heavy says Mox and Eddie versus the Young Bucks shouldn't be on pay-per-view. When SCU breakup was on Dynamite, it's thrown together a tag team over a legendary team. I don't disagree with you. That being said, Mox is a huge star. So if he's going to be contending for the tag title, it's going to happen on pay-per-view because people will buy pay-per-views to watch Moxley wrestle.
Eddie Kingston has every right to be an AEW world champion. That's how good he is. He is that damn good. I do not think of them as a thrown together team. I think that by virtue of the story, it makes all the sense in the world for them to be together. And like you said, Mox is a big deal. He's a big name. I definitely think that the SCU thing probably should have been the main event or a main event of an episode of Dynamite. I mean, look, I'll be honest. It should be a pay-per-view level match, or at least one of the matches on a Blood and Guts-esque card, like a special event Dynamite. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. And I thought they were going to make a much bigger deal about it. And they should have.
Yeah, they should.
That being said, I totally get Mox and Kingston. Yeah. Like I think that's a bigger match.
Maybe we'll see SCU cost the Young Bucks the tag titles at a Double or Nothing.
Yeah, could be.
Church, this is a while ago, but Church says Miro is live on Instagram right now.
That's cool. Screw that guy. I'm going to unfollow him on
Miro's
Instagram now.
Miro's
he's got heat with me. I'm going to write him a angry email. JTV. I'm not going to do that because that'd be crazy. Says, just like SCU's win or end the tag team stipulation, which stipulation, if not completed, would mean the end of Stephen Larson as a podcast? Oh, man.
We have to get 200,000 subs by some point.
That ain't happening. Yeah, that's a tough one. Let's see here.
Like we have to get 200,000 subs by the end of the year, or we just call it quits.
So I'll shout out David Matuszek here.
Okay.
But something tells me that some of these other Patreon... Actually, no. Okay. If anybody has a question about what we think about Cody's current storyline, we already talked about that. So yeah, it does. His question is, does it seem dated? Yes, it does seem very dated.
Mm-hmm. Fear and Loathing says, I want a Go-Go to come out next week and say he loves America and doesn't know what Cody's problem is.
If he just no-sold it, that'd be amazing. Be like, yeah, I apply for my citizenship. I love it here. It's great.
Yeah.
I'm in Florida. Imagine how I feel about the rest of this country. It's Duker Baby says, anytime Excalibur yells new champs during a match, you can guarantee the other guy's gonna end up winning. Trying to sell the moment. That's all right.
Yeah. Lord Corgi says, I'm ready for the reign of Miro San Martino. Yeah, he should have that belt forever.
Mm-hmm. Punk's Not Dead has a good question here, but I mean, I think it's kind of obvious. He says, why the hell did Sting sit there and watch Miro beat the crap out of Darby before the match started? Made no sense to me when he always has a bat. Sting is there to make sure outside interference doesn't kill it. But this is Darby's fight, and he's not there to get involved in Darby's fight. He's just there to make sure that Darby has his fight and not anybody else in the surrounding area.
Yeah.
But he knows, hey, you know, I'm not here to make sure my guy wins.
He's not there to help Darby win. He's there to make sure that other people don't cause him to lose.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
Michael So Dope says, I won't be happy in life until Samoa Joe shows up and chokes out Cody.
Oh, I want him to show up, and that'd be great. And then Miro, then choke out Miro.
Oh, no, Miro's so good.
And then have him pass out.
Dangam Q says, ESPN had our interview with Darby on Sports Nation. Oh,
That's
and
cool.
Charlie Caruso did the interview.
Oh, that's nice. She is AEW. I mean ESPN. Luis Areza says, who do you think is going to be the first to take the titles off the Young Bucks? I think it very well might be Mox and Kingston.
Very good chance that happens. Very good chance. Jorge D says, Cody gets tweeted a clip of this Twitch stream where Steve said that he is a huge fan of Cody's America gimmick and is all in. Wanted to seem like a man of the people. Cody hires going in Raw to create his entire entrance for Double or Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Cody gives you a blank check and says, let's pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and get to work. What is your idea for Cody's Double or Nothing entrance?
I love that dude. Just said bootstraps. There's a big lie for you. Okay, so are we going to do this like legitimately? Like, okay, let's see what it's... Okay, number one, Lex Luger accompanies him. Like, okay, who's in his entourage? Because he has like an entourage. It's one of those Cody matches where he has an entourage. So you need Great Americans. You need Lex Luger.
Yeah, Lex Express, yes.
You need...
well, I don't know if he's still alive. Hold on.
I mean, you got to have Stallone. You get Sly Stallone. He comes out. It's Carl Weathers is still alive.
Yeah.
Stallone and Carl Weathers.
Yeah. What about Del Wilkes?
The Patriot. Perfect.
Yeah.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, he's still alive. I just checked.
Still with us. Okay. Del Wilkes is with us. Jim Duggan. That's good.
Good.
Who's that? Fear and Loathing said that. Very good.
See, I think what we need to do is on the surface make it seem like in Cody's mind this is, like what he wants.
Yeah.
But we will make it just subtly for people who are paying attention.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, someone here is trying to have a laugh a little bit at Cody's expense.
Yeah. Very subtle. Yeah. I like that. Let's see here. Moses opposes. Power rank challengers for Moxley's U.S. Championship.
Kenny.
Is Lawler the strong champion right now?
Mm-hmm.
Thought I saw him with the strong title. Mm-hmm. Man, I was watching an MLW pay-per-view from like 2017.
Yeah.
And it was hilarious how much of a forbidden door that place was at the time. Because it was the main event was like I forget, it was Swerve Scott, Shane Strickland. And I forget who his partner was, but he was taking on Darby Allin and Jimmy Havoc.
Oh, wow.
Matt Riddle fought Tom Lawler. MVP was in a match, and I forget who he was in a match against. But it was like a ton of people. MJF, of course, was there. Mm-hmm. It was just like a ton of people from all these different places now. It's all WWE, NXT, AEW.
That's crazy.
All just mixing up in one place. MLW once had, I know half those guys weren't under actual contract, but,
Yeah, they had a lot of people working for them.
But I don't know. Who in New Japan is like a likely contender at like Dominion if he does it there? Jay White, maybe. If he wants to be a belt collector, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I thought Kento was going to be the guy that took that belt off him. I thought that was it. I thought that was it. Talk about confidence points. I would have a ton on that happening.
Mm-hmm.
A ton. I don't know.
Yano. Evil.
Oh, gosh. Not evil. Jeff Cobb. Have Jeff Cobb take that title off him.
He's in the Empire.
Yeah, I know, but Jeff Cobb's great.
Empire. He is great, but how about the Great O'Khan? Have him take it.
No, Jeff Cobb.
Sonata. Let's see here. Sonata. There you go. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. Hugh Longheavy points out Darby having Rosemary's face paint tonight. It was a different face paint scheme. I liked it.
Zoe Conrada, do you think AEW is getting to the point where they're overusing blood? I definitely think it could be effective, but sometimes it seems like they're just doing it to do it. I've never got the sense that it was ever doing it to do it. Maybe with the soul. Remember that one crazy, was it Falls Count Anywhere match that was it the Butcher was bleeding all over the place?
Oh my God, yeah.
That was just more surprising that happened.
I think that because WWE had a ban on it since going back to like 2000, and they make it such a big deal that we're all sort of like put off or just surprised that there is so much blood in AEW. It doesn't bother me all that much. Like, I don't want, my thing is this. I don't want to see anybody get hurt. I would rather see somebody bleed the way Daniels bled tonight every single week rather than see what happened to Orange Cassidy anytime.
Yeah.
I'd much rather see blood all the time. And does it lessen the drama? Maybe. No, I don't think it does, man. I mean, we've seen it so much. And tonight with Daniels, I was like, holy crap. What a dramatic moment. Now, if he was acting like it didn't affect him, then yeah. But if you bleed that much and you act, oh my God, this has fucked me up, then I'm going to buy into it. I'm totally going to buy into it.
Exactly. White Brownie, by the end of the year, do you see New Japan getting more involved with AEW and potentially help Dynamite get 2 million? I think even if Okada and Jay White and Tanahashi showed up, I don't know if that would be enough to get Dynamite to 2 million.
Here's the thing. Anybody
right
who
away,
is, I think anybody who is watching, I honestly think they've hit a ceiling in terms of what the Forbidden Door can do. I mean, maybe if they start booking a Forbidden Door storyline that is really, really compelling, you might get it up to like 1.5. But I think that there are this many fans, however many people watched last week, 1.1 or whatever, maybe even 1.3. I think that's the limit on the number of fans who are going to tune in because of that reason. After that, it's like you gotta bring them in with other mainstream names, perhaps other WWE signings that bring over their own fans from WWE, and just building up your own people over a long period of time. If you can get some mainstream press via really cool storylines, the way that Austin and Tyson did back in the day, then you can see a bump. Then people come over, they'll keep on watching. But I kind of feel like the Forbidden Door stuff has a ceiling in terms of growing the fan base. And I think it's a really good ceiling for them. If they get over 1 million on a regular basis because of it, great. I think that's awesome. Mission accomplished.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, we're going to go ahead and end it there. Say thanks to everybody out there for tuning in. We appreciate it. Tomorrow at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern,
yes,
we'll be live. We'll be watching along with NXT UK and then doing our news brief live. And then, of course, tomorrow night is Impact live on the Twitch. So hopefully we'll see you there. Thanks for watching. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
Help support Going In Raw today by becoming a Friendo Club TV member. You'll get access to new bonus episodes every week, including Friendo Club Arcade, Live Power Rank, Vintage 10 for the Wins, and Ask Steven Larson. Get access to Friendo Club TV today by becoming a $5 and up patron at patreon.com/Steven Larson, by throwing us a sub at twitch.tv/Steven Larson, or by clicking join at youtube.com/Steven Larson.